Good evening, everybody. Welcome to our Round 9 highlights from our 1979 DRM Division II series, coming to you once again from the Nürburgring, but with an interesting twist. This time we're doing the Start und Zielschleife, also known as the Bettenschleife. It seems like a very simple loop there, but in reality it's anything but simple. You'll see that in the highlights to come. Lots of controversial situations and an absolute shakeup in the championship itself. So before we get into the race, let's go through the point standings as they stand going into round 9. And that has Nicholas Kirsten in the lead with 82 points, Grant Rodal in second with 81 points, Anders Nilsson in third with 70 points, Cesarius Lipinski in fourth with 52 points, and then Liam Dolan is in fifth, very fast driver, with 44 points. That is your top 5 going into the race. And remember, here's how the point spread works. 20 points for first, 15, 12, 10, 8, 6, 4, 3, 2, 1 down the line. To be classified, you have to cross the finish line after the winning driver does, and the best 9 results will count towards the championship. Thankfully, we're not to that point yet, so we don't need to do ridiculous mental math. Here we go, off on the pace lap. Rolling off first is David Saber in the Sachs Sporting number 1. Anders Nilsson is in second in the Emo Klein Racing number 12. Ray Rodal is third in the Mampe Zach Speed number 3. Richard Wilkes is fourth in the Hoffman Automations number 23. Juha Boss is fifth in the Rodenstock Verth number 4. Nicholas Kirsten is in sixth in the Walter Brunn number 20. Tim Hill is in 7th appropriately in the Jägermeister number 7. Jonathan Asserklinth is in 8th in the Oppitzhauser number 15 BMW. 9th is David Wattman in the Willie F. Racing number 22. Mikael Drexler is in 10th in the Jägermeister number 6. Brian Janik in his familiar Lotus Esprit lines up 11th. 12th, Ricardo Mendez, Team Albert Rotenstock number 9. Jules Bouchard, BASF number 16 in 13th. 14th, Grant Rodal, D&W number 2, even though he qualified much higher. And 15th, we have Bruno Chacon in the Lotus Europa number 22. Now, unfortunately, on the parade lap, Nicholas Kirsten had an incident which basically took him out of the race before it even started. Coming down the back chute of the Bettenschleife into the left-hander and just simply went too wide and hit the barrier. He later said that he was distracted by real-life issues, and we've all been there as sim racers, so very unfortunate. Green flag, and David Saber shoots into the lead, followed by Anders Nilsson. Everybody moving into the first turn here, looking reasonably clean. That's Ricardo Mendez shooting up the inside of Jules Bouchard. I should also point out that John Team is in this race in car number 17, but for some reason he didn't show up in the pace lap, but he is in this race. Everybody getting settled, just trying to get themselves ready for proper racing. Now on lap 2, here is one of our first major moves. This is Richard Wilkes going up the inside of Ray Rodal, and this will be for 3rd place going into the South Loop. And on lap 3, here is Grant Rodal racing with Brian Janik, and an unfortunate incident puts Grant Rodal into the barrier. Having another look at it here from his perspective, and you can see he got a little bit of help there from Brian Janik. Unfortunately, Grant Rodal out of the race. Moving ahead to lap 5, here is Mikael Drexler. Also close to Brian Janik here. Mikael Drexler coming down towards the loop at the south end of the track. Runs up on the curb, runs a bit wide, and slows up enough that he's right in front of Brian Janik, and Brian had nowhere to go, no way to react quick enough, and that also not only puts Mikael Drexler out of the race, but it causes Brian Janik to lose his front wing, as you can see there. Now, on the same lap, here comes Jules Bouchard racing with Brian Janik, heading up the left side. Oh, Janik moves to the left there, trying to protect his position, heading into the left-hander, and you can see, oh my goodness, very unfortunate end to Bouchard's race. Let's have another look at this from above and see what actually happened. And there is definitely contact there with Janik, and that puts Bouchard into the fence. I'm sure they'll be having words after the race is over. Moving ahead to lap 9, you can see just ahead Ray Riddall there. This is with Juha Boss, and Juha starts to make some serious moves here, moving up alongside Ray Riddall. That puts Juha into 4th place, right behind Richard Wilkes, who is in 3rd, as the cars round the South Bend. Now into lap 14, Juha makes another move, this time on Richard Wilkes. Pops out. Has a look here, but is not able to get it done. But then look here, Richard Wilkes goes into the grass, apparently in an attempt to avoid Bruno Chacon as they were lapping them there. Now heading onto the back chute. Here's where Juha will make his move. Clean pass in the straightaway. Had good momentum going down there, and enters the left-hander well in front. Here is Janik on the same lap, and he decides to bring in his Lotus and park it. Apparently the handling problem is too much for him to deal with, and if he were to stay there and make the repairs, it would have taken too long anyway. So he is effectively out of contention in his Lotus Esprit. Moving ahead now to lap 19, and this is Tim Hilla following this leading group of cars. Slips to the inside of Ray Riddall and is able to pick up a position. Very, very good driving. And that effectively puts Tim Hilla into 5th place, but this battle is not over yet as we head to lap 20. Here is Ray Riddall slipping by Tim Hilla on the right-hand side, heading into the left-hander that leads to the North Loop. Very good battle between these two. Now we move to lap 24. Same two drivers. Now watch carefully. A little bit of a nudge here from Tim Hilla, and that pushes Ray Riddall to the side. Tim Hilla, charging up the inside, is able to take the position from Ray Riddall once again. Heading into the South Loop. Now up the back chute. And there you see Tim Hilla slowing down, giving the position back to Ray. Apparently, he thought that he gained that position through the bump, and he didn't like that, so he gave it back to him, apparently. Now heading towards the north end of the track, Ray Riddall back in front of Tim Hilla once again, but unfortunately this was not to last. Heading back onto the pit straight. Watch one more time. He's tapped once again. This time unrecoverable, unfortunately. Ray Riddall goes into the fence in his Zach Speed number 3. Looking at it from above, and there you can see the contact. Unfortunately, this time Ray was not able to recover, and Ray Riddall out of the race. Moving ahead to lap 36. We're looking at Johnny Aces on the inside as he passes Tim Hilla in his BMW 2002. Jonathan looking very, very racy at this moment. Heading onto the front stretch once again. Tim Hille very close now. And he's going to try another passing attempt at the left-hander coming up, but Jonathan holds the outside line and keeps Tim Hille at bay. Very, very excellent driving from Johnny Aces. Here we are with Juha and Wilkes once again. This is the same lap, lap 36. And here is Wilkes going up the inside to take Juha. Oh, but he squeezes him against the barrier. And unfortunately, boom, this is going to take both cars out of the race. Very unfortunate. Parts, tires flying. Let's have another look from an aerial point of view. Wilkes in the black and white car. Juha in the red and white car. Wilkes alongside, and you can see he just drifts over into Juha, and they both head into the barrier. So a really unfortunate incident for both drivers. Here's the same view from Ricardo Mendez's car as he's in the process of overtaking Tim Hille, and he has parts flying everywhere. Luckily, he arrives on the scene when both cars are off to the right, so he doesn't have to worry about anything. But he did seem to take a tire right to the front of the car there. In any case, he is able to get ahead of Tim Hille. Now this is lap 38, a very curious situation. David Saber, your leader, exits the north loop, heads onto the pit straight, and suddenly brings the car to a stop. Right at the start-finish line. Not sure what is going on here. Perhaps there was some kind of a hardware issue that he had. Maybe there was a real-life situation that took him away from his computer. In any case, the car is in running order and is still seemingly okay. And here he goes. After several minutes, he rejoins the fray, but well down the order, which is really unfortunate because he was out in front and having a really good race. Now heading into lap 42, and now we're watching Ricardo Mendez passing Jonathan. Ricardo Mendez started well down the order in this race, but he moved up very swiftly, taking advantage of other people's problems. Drifts a bit to the left there, but is able to stay ahead of Johnny. And Tim Hille is back there too, wanting to get in on this action. Coming down the main straight. Looking now at Jonathan and Tim Hille. Tim looks up the inside, no place for him to pass there. Heading into the south loop. Now up the backside of the course. Suddenly all the cars are very, very close together here. Jonathan with a seeming opportunity to possibly get by, but cannot. Slowed up a little bit by Mendez, and that gives Hille the opportunity to slip by on the inside. All right, now we move to the final lap, and with all of the action happening behind him, Anders had a pretty quiet race, running in second place, and then once David had his issues, Anders was able to go into the lead. And as you'll see when we look at the points following this race, it really did turn the championship on its ear. Anders having an excellent day, others not so much. And it makes things very interesting going into round number 10, which will be the penultimate round of this series, as Anders Nilsson rounds the final turn in his Escort, exits that turn onto the main straight, and there is your winner of the race, Anders Nilsson, winner of round number 9. Looking back here at the cars that are coming through, in second is going to be Ricardo Mendez, third Tim Hille, fourth Johnny Aces. So an excellent performance for Johnny Aces. I don't think he's scored points yet in this series, so that's fantastic for him. David Watman finishing in 5th in his number 22 entry. And there we have, whoops, that's John Team in number 17 going for a bit of a ride on the curb there. And Bruno Chacon in his Lotus Europa. Here are the points after this race. Anders Nielsen sprints into the lead with 90 points. Nicholas Kirsten is in second with 82. Grant Riddall in third with 81. Cesarius Lipinski stays in fourth with 52 points. And then Ricardo Mendez enters the top 5 with his fantastic performance with 45 points. Don't forget, on Sunday, June 15th, it's the Budweiser Grand Prix of Cleveland, round 8 of 15 in our 1987 kart series. Green flag at 2000 CEST. That should be a very interesting race. A new build of Cleveland by Alberto Ibanez. And that's it for round 9 of our DRM Division 2 series. Hope you enjoyed this highlights package. Everybody take care. We'll see you next time on the broadcast, and please be safe.